Did you know that a lot of small business owners start businesses just for business deductions? There are business owners who that is their whole intent is to start a business just to get the business deductions, to get the write-offs, right? To not pay taxes, to claim losses and things like that. And tonight I want to talk about why that's not always a good thing. So the first thing that I want to talk about is let's just talk about this word write off, because a lot of times people, you hear the word write off, oh, I could write that off on my taxes, or I could write that off from the business. And so what does write off mean? So essentially a write off is a business deduction. I hate the word write off, honestly, but that's personal. A write off is a business deduction, and the tax code is very general but kind of specific too. So the tax code says that any expense that is ordinary or necessary for you to pursue your business is considered a business deduction. And so you can take those deductions against any business income that you derive from your business operations. And so breaking down ordinary and necessary real quick. Ordinary means that this is an expense that's ordinary for your industry. If you went to an event with a whole bunch of people who did what you do, and you said, I purchased my such and such from so-and-so, they will say, oh, I got mine from there too. It'll be something that people in your industry is very ordinary for you to do or for you to purchase. So like for me, tax software is an example of an ordinary expense in my business because I need tax software to run my business. The thing that I want to make it so that you're clear on is that ordinary is different from industry to industry. So for instance, if I owned a sports bar, it would be ordinary for me to purchase 20 flat screen TVs, right? Because sports bars have TVs all over so people can watch the various games and things like that. However, in my accounting and advisory firm, purchasing 20 flat screen TVs is not ordinary. And so that's the reason why the tax code is not specific in the sense of saying you can deduct this. It just basically gives you a definition, and it's a matter of making sure that the things that you're writing off or the deductions that you're taking are things that are in that definition. So ordinary varies from industry to industry, but it's ordinary based on what it is that you are doing. Necessary, in my opinion, is more so the expenses that are necessary for the way that you do business. So before COVID, and really for a long time, we did like 16 of them. I used to have an annual client appreciation event, and in the last maybe 15 of them were picnics. The first one was kind of bougie, but the last 15 were picnics. So I used to rent a pavilion, and I cooked a lot of food because I know I'm a good cook. Anybody that knows me, right? And cook up a lot of food and bring it out to the park and feed my clients and just let them know how much I appreciate them. And at that event, that was an opportunity for me to get to know my clients on a level that I couldn't get from just doing their tax returns, right? Or just doing their bookkeeping. So because of the way that I operated my business, and because 21 years ago, at the time of this recording, at 21 years ago when I started my business, I said that I wanted to know my clients beyond their file folder. I wanted to know, like, I want to know what their kids are like and what school is like, all those kind of things. And it's just really hard to get that when you're exchanging documents and doing things like that. So the picnic for me was necessary for me to build the type of business that I have built. And so you want to think about whether or not your business expense is going to fall in ordinary or necessary. Now, it is very important, if you are not an interpreter of the tax law, to have a conversation with the person who does your taxes to make sure that your interpretation of ordinary and necessary is going to match what the IRS says. And so now that we've gotten that out of the way, the deductions of what's a business expense, what's a business deduction, what's a write-off, let's talk about why it's bad. Because you're probably like, why wouldn't I take the deductions that are afforded to me? And I think that you should, right? But I think that as a business owner, you have to think bigger. You have to think differently when you are approaching your business, right? At some point, your business needs to be profitable. At some point, you need to show that you've made some money in your business. At some point, you need to pay some taxes on the income that you made. And so when I say that there needs to be a business strategy in place, you have to be strategic about the way that you are claiming your business expenses or operating in your business, because you want to make sure that it all aligns with your personal goals. Because even though our business is a separate entity, it is very much in alignment with our personal goals, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. I'm actually gonna use myself as an example. So for those of you who know me, and I didn't even introduce myself, I just been talking. I was so excited about this topic, I didn't introduce myself. So let me pause for a second and do that. I am sorry. I am Bernadette L. Harris. I'm the founder of this group and the CEO of the BTB Advisory Firm. We are a firm that works with small business owners who are committed to success and committed to taking their business to the next level. To find out more about my company, you can visit our website at thebtbadvisoryfirm.com. Okay, so that's my introduction. Sorry, y'all. Like I said, I was excited about this topic and I forgot to do that. But when you think about your business strategy, it is very important that this is why it's important for you to have a relationship with an accountant. A lot of times people think that they don't need to hire an accountant until they're making a certain amount of money, until when I get 6 figures, then I'm gonna hire an accountant or whatever. And the reality is that you really need to talk to an accountant when you start your business, because even if you can't afford to pay for monthly services or things like that, you need somebody on your team that's going to be able to look at your whole situation and make sure there's congruency in all of that. So what I mean by that is you want to make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish in your personal life is going to be in alignment with what you're doing in your business life, right? And so that's kind of like, y'all know I just recently lost like 28 pounds, right? So to lose that weight, I had to change some things, right? I couldn't continue to say that I wanted to lose weight and then continue to eat cookies and chips and things like that. So I had to put those things away and do something different so that I was able to achieve the goal that I was trying to achieve. It's the same in business. When you're trying to achieve something personally, your business is going to directly affect that. So you have to make sure that your business strategy is in alignment with your personal strategy. So I said I was going to share a personal story. So many of you know I've been in business for 21 years. 21 years. And throughout that time, I essentially raised my daughter with my business. And so there was a period in my life where she was getting ready to go to college. And when she was getting ready to go to college, we had a strategy about her college. And a part of that strategy was little to no debt. Really no debt. But if she had to get debt, to get as little debt as possible, because I want her to be in the bondage that I'm in with my student loans. And so we put a strategy in place as far as how she was going to get scholarships and things like that. And one of the things that I noticed is some of the scholarships were need-based scholarships. And so need-based scholarships mean that you have to show, you have to make a certain amount of money or not make more than a certain amount of money to be able to qualify for those things. And so because we were planning really in middle school, but definitely by 9th grade, my strategy was to change my personal financial situation so that I could decrease my income personally and allow her to be able to qualify for these need-based scholarships, right? And so qualifying for the need-based scholarships, what that looked like for me was I had paid off my car, again, essentially kind of downsized my life so that the things that I needed personally, I didn't need as much. And by downsizing my life, I also downsized my business. So I had a period in time where I stopped taking new clients, I stopped providing certain services because I needed my income to be low enough to where she would be able to get these scholarships. And it worked because my daughter received over $100,000 in scholarships. She went to Howard. Howard's expensive. I think it was like $137,000 in scholarships. Some were need-based. A lot of them were merit-based, but a lot of them were need-based. And my daughter graduated from Howard, which is $40,000 a year, with like less than $20,000 in debt. Now, I know $20,000 probably sounds like a lot, but it ain't as much as it could have been, right? And so that was a part of the whole financial strategy. So it was like I had to be frugal, I had to be tight with it, I had whatever you want to call it, poor, whatever. I was driving a paid for car, drove that car for 10 years, and so it was all a part of the overall strategy. In that situation, writing everything off was good because it matched my personal strategy. So as soon as I filled out that last FAFSA, it was on and popping. I was like, I'm back, baby. I started back doing business. I wrote another book. I did a book tour. I was doing a media tour. I did all these things and started back ramping up my business, right? Because now it's like, I ain't trying to be poor no more. I got this girl through school and now I'm about to start living, right? And at some point, I wanted to buy another house. And I knew that buying a house with a tax return that said I made $20,000, it was not going to happen, right? And so a part of my strategy, the second phase of that strategy was to make sure, now I took all my deductions and things like that, but I wasn't trying to write off everything because I wanted to buy a house and I'm bougie, y'all. So I wanted a nice house, right? And so my strategy changed personally, and that personal strategy caused me to change my business strategy. And, banks look at self-employed people is hard. So with self-employed people, you got to show 2 years of tax returns. I mean, they haze us when it comes down to purchasing a home. And so you really got to make sure your stuff is tight and right so that you will be able to qualify for a loan. And so that's what I did. And my strategy changed and then my business strategy changed. And so essentially the reason that I wanted to talk about this is I just want to talk about how important it is to make sure that you have a strategy, and whatever it is that you're doing in your business is in alignment with what you're trying to accomplish personally. And so I hope this information was helpful to you all. I am excited to be here. I'm here every Wednesday at 8 Eastern for our 15 minutes of fire, and I'm here for 15 minutes or less, just sharing information with you. Again, if you want more information about my business, it's the BTB Advisory Firm.com, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching.